Hello everyone again. Now we're going to do a brief little bit about what we do till now. So we download and install Packet Tracer. We create a network with we give IP addresses to the endpoint computers, laptops, servers. We configure switches. We configure router. We give DHCP services to VLAN 20. And that's it, what we do. We do more, but let's continue. Now we're going to create VLANs and enable port security on the interfaces of the endpoint computers, laptops, and servers, and the interfaces between the switches and the interface between the switch to the router. So let's begin. First of all, let's delete VLAN 1. Let's do this thing. Okay, so this is to see Argon 163, enable 123, config terminal, and let's go to interface VLAN 1, no IP address, and shut. So with this command, we shut the VLAN 1 and delete the IP address that we gave to VLAN 1. We can see if we just put the mouse on the switch, we can see that VLAN 1 is done. Let's do the same thing with this switch, switch 2. Again, config terminal, and interface VLAN 1, no. With the command no and the rest of the command IP address, we just delete the IP address that we gave earlier, and we do shut. We shut the interface VLAN 1. Let's go to the router. In the router, we need to delete the interface that we give to gig. These things we need to do in the future. What we do it now, it's okay, and I explained it in the further tutorials. So let's do no IP address. So, and exit. We don't need to shut down the interface. Let's go to the DHCP. We don't need the services. It can complicate the things that we're going to do. So let's delete also the DHCP. No IP DHCP pool Argon DHCP. And we, with this command, delete the DHCP pool. Okay, let's begin with the VLANs. Okay, so what we need to do is to create a VLAN. So first of all, we're going to create VLANs to each network separately. What we do, VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 100, VLAN 200. So let's begin. VLAN 10, name VLAN 10. VLAN 20, name VLAN 20. VLAN 100, name VLAN 100. VLAN 200, name VLAN 200. What we're going to do now, because VLAN 1 was the native VLAN that every switch and every router have, we're going to create another native VLAN that's called name VLAN 888. VLAN 888, name VLAN 888. If we want to see that the VLAN is created, we just need to write the command do show VLAN. And as we can see, VLAN 10 created 20, 100, 200, 888. These things, we need to do the same thing in the other switch. So let's go to the other switch, exit from the VLAN 1 interface, and write VLAN 10, name VLAN 10. VLAN 20, name VLAN 20, VLAN 100, name VLAN 100, VLAN 200, name VLAN 200, VLAN 888, name VLAN Let's see that we have all the VLANs. Do show VLAN. Do show VLAN. And as we can see, the VLAN is already set inside the VLAN. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to shut down the interfaces that not in use. This is more secure, and I will show you with the attacker later how when we connect it to another interfaces, for example, FA06, it cannot get inside the LAN because we shut down manually the interfaces. Okay, so what we're going to do now is go inside the CLI and write the command interface range. Range, we can get together several interfaces that we want and do commands to all the interfaces together and not all the time for each one of them. So we want FA 0/, we have 5, so this is the last one, so we need 6 to 24, and as you can see, we got interfaces range. So what we're going to do is simple, just shut. We shut all the interfaces and no computer or device can connect now to the switch. And I can show you that with just trying to connect this laptop of the attacker to Fast Ethernet 6. As you can see, it's on red. You cannot get inside the switch because the switch is shut down. If we're going and exit and we're going to interface FA0/6 and we're going to do it no shut, we can see that now the interface is connected to the computer. But if we're going again and do shut, we can see that the computer is now disconnected from the switch. So that's it for the security thing of the shutting down the rest of the interface that's not in use. And now we're going to port security, enable the port security for these interfaces. All right, so the interfaces, before that, we're going to go to this switch and do the same thing. We don't want to forget the things that we need to do. So just a second. What we're going to do is get inside this and interface range FA05 till 24 shut. We shut down the interfaces. And now we are in switch 1. Let's make active the port security. Okay, so no, let's get inside. Let's get the interfaces to the VLAN that we want. So if we're going to interface range 1 and 2, interface range FA01 and 2, what we need to do is switch port access VLAN 10. Now the interfaces are in VLAN 10. The computers are inside VLAN 10. We're going to have connection between the same VLANs. So let's get inside a VLAN interface FA3, switch port access VLAN 200, and interface FA4. We're going to switch port access VLAN 20. Exit. Let's do the same thing in the other switch. Exit interface range FA01.2. Switch port access VLAN 20. We have also this to VLAN 200, so interface 3, switch port access, VLAN 200. And we also have the server, so interface FA45, interface range. When we take several interfaces, it's range. So switch port access, VLAN 100. Let's see in the commands that we have everything in the VLAN. Do show VLAN, and as we can see, 1 and 2, it's in VLAN 20. 4 and 5, it's in VLAN 100. 3, it's in VLAN 200. So that's correct. Let's see in the other switch. Do show VLAN, and here we can see 1 and 2, it's VLAN 10. 4 is in VLAN 20, 3 is in VLAN 200. So that's correct. Let's begin and let's move on and go to the port security. So what we need to do is now when we take the port security, we need an access port security mode because we are connect the interfaces from endpoint devices to the switch. Between switches, it's going to be a trunk because here we want only one MAC address from this interface connect to this server, or one MAC address connect from this computer to this switch. That it's more secure. When we want that several connections, several MAC addresses, and several VLANs and several things move on from this interface to this interface, we need to put a trunk interface in this connection, in this connection. So let's show you how it's done. So let's start with SW1. So what we need to do is interface range FA0, 1, 2, 4, switch port security, and we can see that it is dynamic. So what we need to do is switch port mode access. After that, we need to do switch port security max 1, that only one MAC address from one interface. Switch port security MAC address sticky, that which MAC address coming from this interface to the switch, it's going to be sticky. It's going to stay. You cannot add another computer and connect to the switch. The switch going to disable the connection because you know this computer MAC address. If I connect the attacker to here, he said, "Oh, this is not the MAC address that I know," and then I am not going to give you the opportunity to move traffic from me. So this is the sticky, which is sticky. After that, we want that the switch port no negotiate, that what we decide, this is what it's going to be. The attackers cannot change it. I said it's not negotiate, so it's no negotiate. After that, we're going to decide that when something like this is going to happen and the MAC address, it's not the same MAC address that sent the last package. So the switch port security violation, what it's going to do is to shut down. So this is all the commands to the port security. Let's do the same thing in the other switch for the endpoint interfaces. So interface FA0/125 range. I forget range. Okay, switch port security, switch port mode access, switch port no negotiate, switch port, port security max sticky, switch port, port security max 1, switch port, port security violation, shut down. Okay, so we make all the commands, and now we can see if the things it works. So let's send the ICMP from this to this computer, and we can see that the connection is failed. And we have things that but what we want to test now, it's not the connection between it's this. If I put the ICMP from here to here, now the MAC address is already inside the switch. So if we change the connection between this to this computer, as you can see, it's working because not like this, the interface is okay. But if we want to try to connect from this to this, you see it's failed, and they are in the same network and the VLAN. So this shows you that the port securities work perfectly. And if we take the connection again to this PC and run a little bit of time, we can see that with this interface, we can do a connection with another PC on the network. After we create a port security to endpoint interfaces, let's create a port security to this interface and to this interface and to this interface. Let's start with this int give 0.0/1 and switch port security, switch port mode trunk, switch port trunk allowed. We're going to allow the VLAN 10, 20, 100, 200. Switch port trunk native is VLAN 888, and switch port no negotiate. Switch port no negotiate. This is all what we need to do in the trunk. Now we're going to do the same thing. Exit interface gives 1 2 point. This interface, and we're going to give him a switch port security, switch port mode trunk, switch port trunk allowed VLAN 10, 20, 100, 200, switch port native, switch port trunk native VLAN 888, switch port no negotiate. So what we're going to do is that now we need to try that we have a connection between these computers to these computers. So if we take the VLAN 20 and try to connect with another PC in VLAN 20 that connects to this switch, and we see that we have a successful connection. And from VLAN 200 to VLAN 200, we have perfectly connection. And from VLAN 10 to VLAN 20, we can see that we don't have the connection. In the future, we're going to see how we're going to have a connection. So what we do in this tutorial, we create VLANs and add the right interfaces to the right VLAN. We create a port security for the endpoint devices interfaces, and port security between the switches, and port security between the switch to the router. Let's do this because we don't do. Interface gig to 1. Switch port security. Switch port mode access. Switch port trunk allowed VLAN 10, 20, 100, 200. Switch port trunk native VLAN 888. And switch port no negotiate. So that's it all for this tutorial. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next movie video. Movie videos doesn't matter.